in the last stream, we were working on finally creating our first couple of batches of overworld matter, which I have been making more of between streams, and I have been sifting more of between streams over in this new iron mesh that we also made right at the end of the last stream. And as you can see in here, we now have a fairly reasonable amount of aluminum, gold, iron, lead, and silver to hopefully help us with some of the crafts that we're going to work on in today's stream. To start with, I think we should work on potentially finishing up this iron sieving questline here. There's really not too much left to be done. And I think as soon as we complete the Electrum Ingot quest over here, we're going to unlock the Machines questline under Thermal Expansion, which is then going to allow us to start making machine frames. These do require electrum plates, iron plates, and bronze gears. And once we have those, we can really start making some of the more advanced machines from Thermal Expansion. And specifically, we could even look at making something like the Blast Chiller, which is a machine that is going to finally allow us to make Obsidian, a block that we've been trying to make for quite some time now, and one that is also in and of itself going to open up quite a lot of options to us in terms of new upgrades and machines that we can make. So if we just drop in one silver chunk and one gold chunk, that should produce, I believe, 4 electrum ingots for us that we can then, of course, pull out using the new gold ingot cast that we made in the last stream, the new reusable ingot cast. So we no longer have to use those individual sand casts every single time that we want to pull out an ingot, which is fantastic. The quest book itself here does want us to have at least one silver ingot, so I feel like we might as well also throw one extra silver chunk in there. And then from there, in terms of actually finishing this questline, there actually isn't too much for us to do. We need one lead ingot and one aluminum ingot. Again, both of which should be fairly easy for us to do here. Let's grab some lead and let's grab some aluminum. We'll craft both of those up into their chunk form. And I guess we'll also throw both of those in the smeltery as well, so we can get an aluminum ingot and a lead ingot. We'll turn that on. Let's go start pulling out all of the ingots. Electrum, silver, lead, and aluminum are all done. Beautiful. We'll go ahead and claim all of those quests right away. And yeah, at that point, we just need the gold gear cast. To make that, we just need one gold ingot and one gear. It does mention in the quest book there that you can use a wooden gear to make the cast. Much like with the ingot cast, you have to put a gear in and then pull molten gold over it. So presumably, the wooden gear is going to look something like this. Yeah, there it is. Beautiful. So we'll drop that into the casting table, which is this guy right here. Boom. And as soon as the gold is melted, we can pull that out. And that should get us our gear cast. Nice. And it might even be worthwhile us looking at getting another casting table, because right now we have, 4 casting basins and 1 casting table. I think we should have some seared brick left over, and I think it's definitely going to be worthwhile investing in another casting table. That way we can have 1 for making ingots and 1 for making gears, because again, going forward, and we actually might even want a third one, because another thing that we are going to unlock today is the ability to make plates. Again, this quest right here to make a machine frame does require plates, and much like the gears in this mod pack, plates can only be made either in the multi-servo press or in the casting table. This one is going to require a plate cast, and I think much like the gear cast here, the way we're going to do that is by using a wooden plate. Yeah, there's a custom recipe for a wooden plate here. It's made with 2 oak logs, and so if we just quickly grab 2 of our pre-existing oak logs out of here, I think jungle logs should work just the same. They do indeed. We can then do the exact same thing we just did with the gear cast. Boom and boom. And there we go. We now have a plate cast as well. And so what I think I might do then is I think I might leave this basin here and this basin here, but then I might replace these 2 casting basins with casting tables. That way we don't have to keep moving around all of these casts. We can just have 1 for gears, 1 for plates, and then 1 for ingots, and we can just use the lever at the top to control which one we want to use at any given time. Boom and boom. So there we go. Those are all now set up, which is perfect. And I think we should probably look at making our first machine frame here. I think that's going to be very doable for us. In order to do it, each one requires 4 iron plates, 4 electrum, and 1 bronze gear. So right out of the gate here, I might try and make like maybe 4 machine frames. I don't know if we're necessarily going to need 4 today. we're going to have to make the Induction Smelter, because the Induction Smelter is required to get red alloy ingots. Red alloy ingots are required to make the Redstone Flux Coil, and the Redstone Flux Coil is required to make any of the other machines from thermal expansion. And as I mentioned earlier, I think one of the first machines I want to make is the Blast Chiller here to unlock Obsidian. So really, I think we only need 2, but just to be on the safe side, I think I will try and make 4 here, especially because we do have quite a lot of resources and should be able to make that happen fairly easily. So for every 3 copper and 1 tin that we put in, we're going to get 8 bronze in the smeltery. And so if we go ahead and put 6 copper and 2 tin in, that should get us 16 bronze. And if I'm not mistaken, the recipe for a gear requires 4. Yeah, so that should be enough to get us 4 bronze gears. On top of that, if we're going to make 4 of these, we're going to need 16 electrum and 16 iron. So 16 iron is just as simple as getting 8 iron chunks. And then electrum is just a case of getting 4 silver and 4 gold. That should double into 8 gold and 8 silver, which will then combine into 16 electrum. So I think this on the hotbar that we have right now is really all we're going to need. So let's go and flick this lever on. While we wait for that, let's put in the gold, silver, and iron. Again, I don't think the iron is going to merge with the gold or the silver, so I don't think we're at risk of making any wacky alloys here. I think we're only going to make electrum, iron, and bronze. If we're going to then go forward and make the Induction Smelter, for that, we need a blast furnace, 2 sand, 1 block of redstone, and then 2 Invar gears. So Invar is another alloy. This one is made with iron and nickel. So 2 iron and 1 nickel makes 3 Invar. If we're going to make 2 gears, we need 8 Invar. So we're going to have to make 9 Invar. You make it in sets of 3. So that would be 6 iron and 3 nickel. So that is 3 of these and then 1 of these. Again, I don't really think we're at risk of making the wrong alloy here, so we can just throw all that in and get that going. And at that point, we should be good on the Induction Smelter. Following that, if we wanted to make the red alloy ingot, this is made in the Induction Smelter with iron, redstone, and copper. Again, all of which we should have ready to go. From there, the Redstone Flux Coil is gold over the red alloy ingot. And then if we want to make the Blast Chiller, we need some compressed overworld matter, machine frame, glass, redstone flux coil, and then the 2 more Invar gears. So none of this really seems too difficult. All we have to do here is make sure that we turn off the plate cast before it gets to the Invar. I did make a slight mistake here. We need 3 nickel, not 2. So we are going to end up with, unfortunately, 1 rogue nickel in the smeltery. Although, given that we know we need more nickel to make the blast chiller, we should probably just go ahead and make enough Invar to make 4 of these Invar gears. Alright, so a good deal of smelting later. I did have to put some more iron and some more nickel into the smeltery. So now we have 6 Invar gears, but we also have 16 electron plates, 4 bronze gears, 15 iron plates, and there should be 1 more iron plate heading on through into here any second now. There it is, perfect. So let's grab all of these, and let's see if we can't craft up a couple of parts, shall we? So first things first, let's make at least 1 of these. I do intend to make more, but just in case we need like these bronze gears or plates for anything else, I'm going to hold off using those just yet. Next up, we have that Induction Smelter. For this, the only thing that we're currently missing is 2 sand. Easy enough. 1 block of redstone. Right now we have 67 redstone up here, so getting 9 of that is going to be perfectly doable. And then from there, we need a blast furnace, right? Which is somewhat easier said than done. The blast furnace, not a particularly expensive recipe, but one that does require a fair bit of crafting. We need 5 compressed cobblestone, 1 furnace, and 3 fired crucibles. Okay. Boom, and boom. And so that should be everything for the Induction Smelter. Nice. So this is a machine that can make alloys using redstone flux. So let's bring it over to here. And I didn't mention it, by the way, but I have filled in the corners of these rooms before we had like floating islands in the middle. I've done it for both the Tinker's room and for the sieving room just to give us a little bit more space, especially now that we have this bigger smeltery. In the last stream, I was spending a lot of time kind of jumping, trying to get to the right place, whereas now we can just walk around. And I've installed these little kind of ladder chutes to get down to the lower level, just in case we need to go down at any point in the future. For now, though, back over here, let's drop down the induction smelter for now, just somewhere where there's power. Now, normally you can make things like Electrum in the induction smelter. That might have been tweaked in this pack. It hasn't. Nice. So going forward, we can put both gold and silver directly into the induction smelter here to make Electrum. The only downside is that we can't put the gold and silver in chunk form. So it's not like I can take this gold chunk and this silver chunk and make Electrum, although it looks like maybe I can just put the chunk itself directly in. Interesting. I didn't know you could do this, but it looks like you can smelt the chunks directly in the induction smelter. You don't get 2 ingots at a time like you would if you smelted it in the smeltery, but you do have a chance of getting some other things like cinnabar and rich slag for the gold chunk, and then lead and rich slag for the silver chunk. That's good to know. I don't know if we're going to use this too often, but that's good to know nonetheless. And as I mentioned before, now if we wanted to, we could put the gold and the silver in here, and that would make us the Electrum Ingot. And in the future, you can also upgrade these machines to be faster as well. For now, though, we need it to make one specific alloy, that being the red Alloy Ingot, which is made, as we said before, with iron, redstone, and copper. And I think we might actually have 1 copper ingot over here. We got 4 of them. Nice. Iron-wise, I don't think we currently have an iron ingot, although, once again, we can grab some more iron pieces, craft those into iron chunks, and then pull those out in ingot form using the smeltering. And I guess if we wanted to, we could also probably use this in the induction smelter, but given how little iron we currently have, I do want to try and get like the most out of it as possible, and using the smeltery, we do get 2 iron ingots per iron chunk, so I'll turn that off, and I'll turn the ingot cast on. That's going to start pulling those out any minute now. Redstone, we know we've got it. We'll take 1, 2, 3, 4 of those. And yeah, that should be everything for the red Alloy Ingot. We should also get a new gold chunk into the smeltery as well, just in preparation for the Redstone Flux Coil that we're going to make next. And then at that point, I think we're pretty much good to go, chat. We should be able to make the Blast Chiller fairly easily. We've got what it takes to make the machine frame. We're about to make our first Redstone Flux Coil. We've got the extra Invar gears. We've got the glass. The only thing that we might be missing is the Overworld Matter. I did make some more between streams, but I did also sift a good chunk of it. How many do I have left over here? Oh, we've got a full stack. Perfect. And we only need 18 to make this happen. So we'll quickly craft those up into 2 compressed Overworld Matter, like so. And at that point, we should be good to go. We should be able to finally start utilizing the lava that we're making back here to make Obsidian. So we'll turn this lever off. We'll grab 1 iron. We'll take that iron, copper, and 4 redstone all the way over to our induction smelter. Iron, copper, and 4 redstone. And 6 hours of waiting for the induction smelter later, and we get 2 red alloy ingots. Nice. We are going to want to look at speeding that up as soon as we possibly can, because right now it is painfully slow. But back over here, this should be able, if we do something like this and like this, to give us our very first redstone coil. That, of course, is going to be piped down into this chest. Perfect. And at that point, back over here, let's go with Blast Chiller. We're just missing 1 machine frame, which we can make, and 1 glass, which we should have. Boom. And boom, we have the Blast Chiller. Nice. Okay, so how much power does this guy use? This uses 20 redstone flux per tick. That is perfect, because that means that we can take advantage of our pitiful generator that we made previously. This guy right here, the one that does run on fuel. We'll take some tiny coal. The problem, of course, right now is that our power is being generated in this sifting sphere using the wind turbine, and the lava is being generated all the way at the other side of the base. And so this pitiful generator, which again I think produces about 30 redstone flux per tick, should be able to power the blast chiller here, which again I think is going to be extraordinarily slow. Let me see here. If I set the back of this to input like that, that's going to fill up with lava. Perfect. And if we provide the pitiful generator with some coal, that should start to provide this guy with power. And so now, slowly but surely, we should have an automatic obsidian maker, because we are still automatically generating lava. That lava is automatically being placed into the blast chiller, and that is being automatically turned into obsidian. It's not blisteringly fast, but it's also not that slow, actually. It is making obsidian fairly quickly. There's our first piece there, which is perfect. And so it really shouldn't take us too long to get a decent backlog of obsidian going. And of course, one of the things that I did want to use our obsidian for is upgrading our storage drawers, because right now we have a lot of items in here that are kind of clogging up our entire system, right? If we head on over to the sifting area and we check out our buffer chest, it is full of dust, tiny coal, and niter. And I've even been on a few times between streams to try and clear it out. Like, I've taken some of the dust, I've put it into the hopper over here, so now we have 137 clay. Like, I've been using the dust to make more clay to try and clear out the backlog, but of course it's still backing up eventually. And so I do want to look at upgrading our storage drawers, and as I mentioned in the last stream, I think one of the best ways for us to unclog our current system is probably going to be to just make more storage drawers that hold just one item. That way, instead of only being able to hold 512 flint or 512 tiny coal or 512 dust, we could hold 2048, right? We would effectively quadruple the amount of stuff we could hold, and therefore, at the very least, push the problem later on down the line until we can get draw upgrades or void upgrades. And between streams, the pack has updated. I will claim these quests, by the way. Boom. The pack has updated, so right up at the top here, we do have a new quest in the storage drawer quest line. It is just a tick box quest, but it does mention these framed drawers, which I think I mentioned in the last stream. Framed drawers are really cool. They can be used to give you drawers with a custom texture. This is done in the crafting table as shown. Claim those bucks. So this is the recipe right here. You take a framed drawer and then you craft it with 3 other blocks. So if, for example, we come over here, framed drawer, there are multiple kinds, of course. You have the 2x2s, the 1x2s, and the standard drawer. The standard drawer is the one that we are after. This is made with 6 sticks and 1 chest. Again, that should be fairly easy for us to do here. We'll take a few of these because I think we are going to want to make quite a few custom chests. If I'm not mistaken, we should have some sticks lying around. We do indeed. Perfect. So boom and boom. That gets us 5 framed drawers. And as the quest mentioned, now you can use these to make storage drawers like this, but that aren't made of wood. So for example, let's say we do smooth stone here, we do wood here, and we do sand right here. It's going to look horrible, but this is essentially a storage drawer that has a stone front, wooden sides, and sand edges. And of course, you can mix these up. You know, we could have sand on the sides or sand on the front. You can fully customize this to look however you like. Obviously, using those 3 materials looks horrible and is not what we're going to do. Instead, one thing that was recommended to me by the Twitch chat that I was a little dubious of at first, but after testing it, I think I kind of like it, is the idea of using glass for all of the drawer, for the entirety of the drawer. Because I'm thinking what we might end up doing here is moving our storage drawers into the wall. So for example, let's imagine that we maybe temporarily grab some cardboard boxes. And let's say we move these 2, right? For now, we can put these back down, maybe like over here. But let's imagine that we want to start putting drawers into this wall. We could do something like this. And we could start putting, you know, things like Electrum into the wall. And I think that could look kind of cool. You know, if we fill in this whole area around here, this kind of arch with drawers, and maybe put the drawer controller maybe just beneath this Electrum here, we could connect up all those drawers and just have all of the drawers made of glass embedded in the wall. So quite a while later, and we have fully revamped this wall of the central sphere here. So we now have all of our storage drawers embedded in this wall. We've completely filled it up with single item storage drawers. I don't know quite how many we have in total, but it's quite a few of them. And we've put every single item that we have a reasonable amount of, or that we expect to get a reasonable amount of in the future, into those drawers. And I actually really like it. I think it looks really good. Going forward, we'll be talking with the chat about potentially filling in the other walls as well, and kind of having this room just be a room that is kind of just full of storage drawers. We could put them here and here and here, and then maybe these middle pillars here could be made out of like trim to connect the two sets of drawers up potentially. The storage drawer controller does have a maximum range. You can connect drawers up to 12 blocks out in each direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which is perfect because it means that if we were to put some drawers in this wall here, this drawer controller is close enough to those drawers to where it would still be able to access them, and we'd still be able to, dump items in there and pull items out using the logistical transporter, which I have moved. Now it's still underneath the drawer controller as it was before. The setup hasn't changed. The pipes have just moved, so the drawer controller is now out of the way. That does remind me, what we can do, and what I think we should do, is we can do the same thing with the drawer controller. We can make a framed drawer controller, and then in this example, where we have the drawer controller in our blue terracotta kind of doorway, we could color the drawer controller to look like blue terracotta, and that way I think it would look a lot nicer and a lot less out of place like it does right now. So there is going to be a little bit of water spillage, which is to be expected. I think all we need is sticks. If I'm not mistaken, I think the recipe is just sticks, and drawer controller. It might be like this. Yeah, there we go. So we could take that. We could then grab some blue terracotta. We've got a ton of the stuff lying around now, so let's do something like this and like this. And yeah, we could then take that drawer controller. I don't know if it's worth putting in the extra 2 bits of blue terracotta. No, that doesn't change the texture at all. So if we just take that, and if we put that down back here, it's definitely noticeable that that's not a piece of blue terracotta, but as we're moving around the base, it's not quite so obvious that it's out of place like the previous one was. And going forward, we might even put something here as well just to add to the symmetry of the base. But this is now all set up. We've got a lot more space for things like flint and dust, which are all slowly but surely filling up. And if we come and check in over here, we did start making some more overworld matter that's been cooked up as we speak. We do now have 10 obsidian ready to go. Doing that will complete at least one of these quests down here. The quest for obsidian. We'll claim that. And although I did mention previously using our first bits of obsidian to upgrade the storage drawers to be able to hold even more, I don't think it's necessarily a good use of our obsidian to make these storage upgrades, simply due to the fact that now that we have iron and gold, we can actually jump straight in at the higher tier upgrades. Unlike some other mods, you don't have to make the previous upgrades before you can make the next tiers. So we could, if we wanted to, jump straight in and make tier 3 upgrades, aka gold upgrades, and put those directly onto our drawers. And given that the obsidian upgrade increases the storage by 2 times the base value, and the gold upgrade increases the storage by 8 times the base value, that means that if we were to put a gold upgrade into, let's say, our smooth stone drawer, that would take its capacity from the default 2048 all the way up to 16,384. So using gold instead is going to significantly increase the amount of storage that we get. And given that all we have to do now to get more gold is sift the overworld matter, which we can make super easily because we've got a ton of tin, a ton of clay, and a ton of dark oak leaves, I feel like it just makes more sense to do it this way. So all we have to do is get a storage drawer, which thankfully we do now have quite a few of because we've just torn down storage drawers that are now no longer being used. So we've got a bunch of these ready to go. So if we throw that in and then surround it with sticks, like so, that makes 4 upgrade templates. From there, if we craft that with more sticks and then, in this case, gold ingots, that gets us a drawer upgrade. Nice. And for now, we could go ahead and drop that in over here. And at that point, we should start to see more smooth stone coming out of here and making its way down round into this drawer, thus, freeing up more space in the block breaker and hopefully, at least temporarily, stopping the smooth stone from spewing out all over the ground here. Now, of course, it's not going to solve the problem forever. Eventually, we're going to fill up this drawer with 16,384 smooth stone, and at that point, the system is going to block up again. We've kind of just kicked the can down the road in terms of item spewage, but that is where the obsidian actually does come in useful, because as I mentioned previously, we could look at making something like a void upgrade. This guy is made in a very similar way. It is the upgrade template surrounded by obsidian, and when you install this, like so, by the way, you can either right-click or you can shift right-click. If you shift right-click, you can see the upgrades here, and you can take them out as you see fit. but the void upgrade will destroy excess items. So now, once we get to 16,384 smoothstone, the drawer will continue to accept smoothstone, but it will just delete any excess, which I think is perfectly fine. I don't see a reason why, at least in the near future, we would need more than 16,384 smoothstone. Also, you can put in multiple of the same tier of storage upgrade, by the way. So if you wanted to, you could fill all 7 of these slots here with gold storage upgrades. They don't multiply. So like if you were to add another gold upgrade, it wouldn't multiply 16,384 by 8. It would just add another 14,384 to your amount. So it would just add the same amount every single time. So it's additive, not multiplicative, if that makes sense. Either way, I think that's what we should do going forward. Of course, right now we don't have that much obsidian. As time goes on, we will slowly but surely build up obsidian, thanks to our blast chiller here and thanks to the fact that we have lava automated. I do think it might not be a terrible idea for us to grab one of our old wooden storage drawers. And if we just stick that on top of the blast chiller, I'm pretty sure that we can set the top here to output, which is orange, and it should automatically, I think, push the item out if you click this button. If you turn on auto output like that, the obsidian should get pushed up, and there we go, it's in the drawer. Nice. So now we can hold up to 2,048 obsidian, which should slowly but surely just be passively generated whilst we do other things. Of course, our pitiful generator here is going to run out of power. One thing that I would like to do is a little further up here. I think it is right here, Chapter Challenge 4, which is one that I think we might be able to do fairly soon. The reward for this is a Magma Generator, uses lava to create power. And so what we could do, if we complete those chapter challenges, we could drop down a Magma Generator here to actually use the lava as well to produce extra power to power things like our blast chiller. I feel like that could be quite useful. What would we have to do here? We'd need 64 basic logistical transporters. These are made in sets of 8, so really we would need 16 Constantan and 8 Cinnabar. That seems very doable. The first of many quest wants 64 copper, 64 tin, and 64 nickel. Again, those do double in the smeltery, so all we would have to do is get 32 of each of the respective chunks, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, we should have those. Yeah, we've got more than 32 copper, more than 32 tin, and more than 32 nickel. We also have the cast quest, which I think is actually by far the easiest of all the quests here. If we just do something like this, we get that quest completed right away. And unfortunately, I've maybe made a few too many of those, actually, because now we have way more than we need. We could do with maybe making a trash can, actually, to get rid of stuff like that. But the hard part, as we mentioned in the last stream, is going to be the sea lantern, because for that, we need so much prismarine, and the prismarine is made using the overworld matter. So I actually think this might be doable, actually, chat. Let me grab some of the overworld matter that we made over here. And then if we drop that in this hopper, we did set up this system to make prismarine. I think we needed something silly like 3 stacks of prismarine, so we're probably going to have to add even more overworld matter to that hopper there if we want to complete that quest. But I think it's very doable, honestly. And let's also start the process of like melting down all of the copper, tin, and nickel into ingots as well over in the old smeltery. And we'll probably just pull all of these out in block form once they're done. So right now the flopper here is what's slowing us down. Like the flopper is taking quite a while to move the water in. Or it's one of the things slowing us down. It does also take a while for the water to get turned into seawater. I am wondering if we could maybe use, like right now we have one flopper piping into the barrel, right? With unlimited water source above it. I wonder if we could get multiple floppers and then pipe those floppers into these mechanism pipes and then have those go directly into the barrel, right? I think that could possibly give us a nice little backlog of water that could then go faster and kind of speed up the production of that prismarine. I was also under the impression that I had some wooden hoppers. Oh, they're in my backpack. There they are, of course. We also have a spare flopper just lying around as well. So let's take 2 more floppers, and we should have a bunch of basic mechanical pipes. We do. And then let's see if we can't make this work. So if I go and pick up the pre-existing flopper, or one of the pre-existing floppers, we could also look at connecting these two together. Like there's no reason to have 2 separate flopper networks. I guess we could try and add that other flopper to my left here to the same system. If we do like this, Let's make sure we go up for air. Can we then do something like this to pipe round and fill that up? You can. It kind of looks a little slower maybe, but I'm hoping that the pipes will kind of fill up while the barrel is doing its work. Somebody in the Twitch chat is suggesting that we maybe try setting the fluid pipes here to extract, because if we right click, you'll see that there's a bunch of water in the floppers, but right now we're limited by how fast the floppers push out. Whereas if we do this, maybe now we're limited by how fast the pipe can extract from the flopper, which I believe is a lot faster. It does say here that it can pump 512 millibuckets per tick. There are 20 ticks per second, so it can pull out multiple buckets per second. Yeah, you'll see that is now completely empty, and this pipe is full. And as soon as this wooden barrel finishes its current progress in the top left there, we should see it fill up. Look at that, it filled up instantly. Beautiful. Okay, so let's do the same thing here, I guess, with the other two floppers. And I think we'll also move this flopper and add it to the end as well. And we'll just add another pipe here for the clay making. Okay, so a little while later, and we've tripled up on the prismarine production. So we're now making prismarine much, much faster. I also did some number crunching, and it looks like we're going to need about 4.5 stacks of prismarine if we're going to be able to make 32 sea lanterns. Thankfully, we're already almost at 3 stacks of prismarine, and we are still making more overworld matter, so hopefully we should be able to get there sooner rather than later. Over here, we did smelt down a stack of copper, a stack of nickel, and a stack of tin. So in here, we have copper blocks, nickel blocks, and tin blocks. If we grab all those and craft them all down into ingots. And that should be that quest complete. It is, nice. So now we just have the super sorting quest and the sea lanterns quest. Again, the sea lanterns quest is still being worked on. More overworld matter is being produced. As for the other quest, we needed, 8? We needed 16 Constantan and 8 Cinnabar. So 16 Constantan we can get from 8 copper and 8 nickel. So we'll drop those in there. We can pull those out as 16 Constantan ingots. We can then craft those with the Cinnabar, and we should be good to go. And at that point, yeah, it's just the overworld matter. That's all we have to make, and all we have to do is turn all of that overworld matter into 4.5 stacks of prismarine. The reason we only need 4.5 stacks is that once we hammer it down, we have a 33% chance to get prismarine crystals, and we have a 100% chance to get prismarine shards. So we're always going to get prismarine shards. We're not always going to get prismarine crystals. The bad news is that we need more prismarine crystals than we do prismarine shards. The good news is that you can turn your extra prismarine shards back into prismarine. You can just craft it back up like this, and then hammer it down again. So once we have 4.5 stacks, we should just be able to recraft any prismarine shards that we have left over, and keep hammering those down until we get all of the prismarine crystals. So it should be very doable. All we have to do is keep topping this up. And in fact, I think we might already have enough overworld matter. Between these three, we have like an extra 90, which should take us up to over 4.5 stacks. So I think on the overworldian matter front, we are good to go. All we have to do now is pull out all of the Constantan in ingot form. And to do that, I will quickly turn off these levers here, move the Constantan to the bottom, and then begin pulling that out. That's going to allow us to craft up those pipes. And yeah, we should be good to go. So I think what I'll do, chat, is I think we can just start hammering down the prismarine, because it's going to take a little while here. We're going to have to hammer it down, hammer all of it down until we have all the prismarine shards we need. And then once we have the prismarine shards we need, and we need 2 stacks, by the way. So once we have more than 2 stacks of prismarine shards, any extra prismarine that we have just needs to be crafted back up and hammered again, and we just repeat that process over and over and over and over and over again until we have enough prismarine crystals to craft up all of the sea lanterns. Okay, so we started breaking down the prismarine. We currently have 2 stacks of prismarine shards, which is what we need. We need 2.5 stacks of prismarine crystals. So we're almost there. We're just waiting on more prismarine to come in. While we wait, let's take the Constantan here. Let's go ahead and grab 8 Cinnabar. Boom, boom, and boom. That gets us the 64 pipes. Beautiful. And I think one more thing that I would like to do whilst we're waiting for the prismarine to come in, and something that the Twitch chat has been pestering me to do for quite some time now, is upgrade my tools. Right now we have a flint pickaxe and a flint axe, and also, I guess, a flint sword as well. Now that we have access to things, and a stone sword, I guess. Now that we have access to materials like bronze, which is significantly better than flint, we should definitely look to upgrade our tools. So I think what we should do is we should grab some copper, let's say 4, and some tin. We'll just take the 1. That's going to get us 4 bronze, and I made a mistake there. It's 3 copper and 1 tin, and that's going to get us 4 bronze. I think it's just 1 bronze ingot to make a bronze pickaxe head. No, it's 2 ingots. Okay, and I'm assuming it's also 2 ingots to make the axe head as well. Yeah, okay, so we should be able to upgrade both our pickaxe and our axe with the 4 bronze that we're about to make. So we could make another gold cast for this, but given that we're not going to need that many pickaxe heads going forward, and given that we did make a bunch of sand casts earlier, and given that we don't really have that much gold just yet, I feel like we might as well use temporary sand casts for both of these. So let us go ahead and maybe grab some wood from our botany pot, and we can use that to make a wooden axe head and a wooden pickaxe head. From there, we can use those to make the imprints into the sand cast, and then from there we can pull out the bronze pickaxe head and the bronze axe head as well. So over in the pot builder, we'll do pattern and wood. Let us get a pickaxe head and an axe head. And then right around on the other side, we'll for now take away the ingot cast. We'll do sand cast with the wooden pickaxe head. And then we can pull out the bronze. We can then do the same thing with the wooden axe head. Pull out the bronze. And once we have both of those, we should be good to upgrade both of our tools here over in the Tinker Station. So we'll take out the flint. We'll drop in our pickaxe and upgrade that. And we'll drop in the axe and upgrade that as well. Now, we are going to have to make some bronze that we can put into here if we're going to want to repair our pickaxe in the future, but the tool is now upgraded. Chat can finally stop shouting at me for having subpar tools when we have better materials that we can make them out of. And we do now have a little bit more in the way of prismarine here. And ideally, if we can turn all of this prismarine into prismarine crystals, that should take us to 28. So we're very close. And again, we should be able to turn all of these into prismarine crystals because although it's only a 1 in 3 chance, you're guaranteed to get the shards. And so any prismarine that doesn't get turned into crystals, we can craft back up and break down again until it gets turned into shards. So we're actually only 2 prismarine away. So I'm just going to go ahead and we'll make extra just in case. We'll just throw all of this into here. And that's going to get us the final 2 prismarine that we need. And now if we, we need 4, right? We need 32, not 30. So we actually need 2 more prismarine. But once we get 2 more prismarine here, it should now just be a case of breaking this down over and over and over again, breaking it down, crafting it, until we have enough prismarine shards to make 32 sea lanterns. We've done it. It took quite a while, but we now have 2.5 stacks of prismarine ready to go. So back over here, sea lantern. We should now be able to make 32 sea lanterns. Look at that. And in doing so, we should have also completed the chapter challenge quests here. Let's claim that. Let's tick the box. And boom. Quest complete and the Magma Generator acquired. So this guy, you can feed with lava and it will generate redstone flux. So we can just take this, drop it down over by our smeltery. Going forward, we might look at getting a few more crucibles down, and we'll probably also look at compressing the crushed diorite to make our lava generation just a little bit more efficient. Right now, we do have 14 obsidian. It is coming in fairly slowly, not particularly fast. I think that's probably due to some issues up on the surface with our diorite generation. Like, we've got a lot of cobblestone. It seems like this is not breaking the block, but and the cobblestone's not being moved. Again, if we can make like a cobblestone upgrade and maybe a void upgrade for the cobblestone storage door, maybe we can start getting more diorite in and keep that diorite going around, producing more lava. We could also look at adding things like andesite and granite, of course, to the filter to allow those to come through and get hammered down as well. And then also, of course, add those to the filter for the crucible to turn those into lava as well. But those are all problems for future Isaac, because for now, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up today's Seaopolis stream there.